Hey guys, welcome to another video, and this video is very important when it comes to the history and some key points of the World War II, especially concerning the country Poland, from where the World War II had actually started. So make sure that you watch this video until the end. On September 1st, 1939, Germany invaded Poland and the World War II began. And just after that, on September 3rd, the Allied countries, France and the Great Britain, they responded to that by declaring a war against Germany. After that, on September 17, 1939, the Soviet Union also invaded Poland from the other side, from the east side. But at this time, the Allied countries, France and the Great Britain, did not declare a war against the Soviet Union. What was the reason? If they had also declared the war against the Soviet Union, then the shape of the World War II could be quite different than what really happened. So let's understand it by breaking it down into pieces. Let's go. To understand everything, we have to go back to 1918, after which the Austro-Hungarian Empire was divided into many pieces. And out of those many pieces, one piece was a country called Czechoslovakia. Northern, southern and western areas of Czechoslovakia was called Sudetenland, where the Sudeten Germans were living who moved from Germany to Czechoslovakia. Now when Adolf Hitler came to power, he convinced people and the army to support in his mission to reclaim those lost lands which they lost in the World War I. Well, the true fact is, Hitler wanted to conquer the whole of Europe, not just reclaiming the lost lands. After Hitler grew his military in 1938, he finally implemented the plan and it started from reclaiming the Czechoslovakia land. On August 7, 1938, the German troops attacked on the Czechoslovakia border areas, and in the following days they actually succeeded to occupy some areas of Czechoslovakia. And the main reason is because a lot of Germans were living there, so they cooperated with the vicious Hitler ideas. Hungary and Poland, they also took the opportunity to demand land from Czechoslovakia. France and Great Britain were quite worried at this point that Hitler might break a war. That's why they asked Czechoslovakia for a concession to calm Hitler. Now to understand how big was the fear of Hitler, we need to know the event when France became an official ally of Czechoslovakia and they signed a treaty of mutual assistance during invasion. Now Britain did not sign such a treaty with Czechoslovakia, but in theory, if France helped Czechoslovakia, then the Great Britain would also jump in. But eventually, France and Great Britain both banded together in the fear of Hitler and they betrayed Czechoslovakia to please Hitler. At this point, Czechoslovakia felt the pressure from four sides and eventually gave up the lands. Now on September 30th, 1938, the Munich Agreement was signed and the Sudetenland, the border areas of Czechoslovakia, was given back to Hitler under one condition, that no more invasion would occur by Hitler. But only 6 months later, Hitler violated the agreement and he occupied all of Czechoslovakia. At this point, France and Great Britain realized that Hitler has the intention to conquer whole Europe. That's why they started making alliance with more countries to fight against Hitler in the future, just in case. On August 25th, 1939, the Anglo-Polish Treaty was signed. Now in principle, if one of the countries would be attacked by Germany, then the other country is obliged to stand to support. Now later, France also supported the treaty and joined the Anglo-Polish Treaty with the same condition to support each other. That is why when Poland was attacked by Germany, Great Britain and France jumped in immediately and they declared a war against Germany. Now if we come back to the question that when the Soviet Union also invaded Poland from the other side, this time France and Great Britain did not declare a war against the Soviet Union. Well, the reason for that is because the treaty was signed in a way that when Poland would be attacked by Germany, then only France and Great Britain is obliged to stand to support, not in case when the Soviet Union would attack Poland. In fact, if Poland would be attacked by any other country than Germany, then Great Britain and France are not obliged to support Poland. And that's what they did. But if this reason sounds ridiculous and inhuman to you, then there is something else. Few days before Germany occupied Czechoslovakia, Stalin gave a speech at the Communist Party Congress in Moscow, Russia. Stalin basically said that the aggressive nations are taking interest in non-aggressive nations like France and Great Britain, and we give support to the nations who become a victim to invasion. So basically Stalin was on the good side here and wanted to support two allied countries and was against the German ideologies. The allied countries also wanted to make an alliance with the Soviet Union against Germany, but they had some psychological doubts about them. One was that the Soviet Union was communist, and that led to the second concern that they would actually cooperate with the allied countries against Germany when actually needed. Well, actually the Soviet Union was not sharing borders with Germany. So in order to attack against Germany, they needed to pass through Romania and Poland. And both these countries had some land disputes with the Soviet Union. And that is why the Allied countries, France and the Great Britain, had some doubts that if the Soviet Union entered these countries with their military, they would never leave. And that's why the Allied countries never made an alliance with the Soviet Union. From June to August 1939, the three powers, France, Great Britain, and the Soviet Union, gathered in Moscow to discuss some terms of cooperation and military assistance in case Nazi Germany start a war. Well, a preliminary agreement was reached, but when there was a time of direct negotiation of military assistance, things didn't really work out. Soviet Union was represented by Marshal Clement Voroshilov, but France and Great Britain, they sent small military officials to discuss these terms. Reginald Drax from the Great Britain and Aime Dumont from France. They were not allowed to make decisions without the government approval. That is why when the Soviet Union asked them if Romania and Poland would give the permission to the Red Army of Soviet Union to enter in their territory to fight against Germany, these military officials from France and Great Britain did not answer that. They had to go back to Europe to ask their higher representative about this demand. But at this time, the Soviet Union realized that this agreement is not worth the time and effort, so that's why they suspended all the negotiations with France and Great Britain on 21st August 1939. 2 days later, a German foreign minister, Joachim Ribbentrop, went to Moscow to sign a treaty of mutual non-aggression. Well, there was a secret in that treaty. Both Germany and the Soviet Union decided that they will divide the Polish territory. The west part will go to Germany and the east part will go to the Soviet Union, with no aggression to each other and no invasion to each other's country. After that, Stalin agreed to it. I mean, why not? It was a win-win condition for him, and he gave up on all useless negotiations with London and Paris. So in simple words, the Soviet Union was quite serious in the beginning to make an alliance with France and Great Britain, and Hitler saw that the Soviet Union considered Germany as an enemy. But sooner the agreement between the Soviet Union and the Allied countries failed. It forced the Soviet Union to make a close alliance with Germany to protect its own territory from the crazy Nazi Germany. And well, as a bonus, they were also offered half territory of Poland. Now, one Hitler was crazy enough that if you add one more Stalin to it, it is almost impossible to fight against. That is why sooner the Soviet Union sent its Red Army to the east side of Poland. France and Great Britain couldn't do anything because there was no agreement signed. And Germany on the other side defeated the west side of Poland. The Soviet Union said that they are not invading Poland. They are reclaiming their lost land that they lost since 1920. And that is why France and Great Britain temporarily accepted Soviet Union invading Poland, reclaiming Poland, because they did not want to have another powerful enemy. So this was it. Now, according to you, how else things could have been different from the Allied countryside or the Soviet Union to prevent German invasion in Poland and potentially preventing the World War II? Share in the comment section below. And here comes the boring sentence, because 90% of you don't do it. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel to watch similar case studies in the future. See you next time.